Hey there, Knicks Nation. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into one of the most intriguing questions surrounding our team this season. Who will be the Knicks' second option? Get ready, because we're about to unpack this in detail. And trust me, it's more complex and exciting than you might think. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's establish some ground rules. First and foremost, Jalen Brunson is our guy. He's the undisputed #1 option, especially in crunch time. His ability to create his own shot, facilitate for others, and make clutch plays is unmatched on this roster. So when we're talking about a second option, we're really asking, who's going to be Robin to Brunson's Batman? Well, folks, get ready for a plot twist. It looks like we might be looking at a Robin by committee situation this year. And you know what? That might not be a bad thing at all. In fact, it could be the key to unlocking the Knicks' full offensive potential. Let's break this down piece by piece. First up, Julius Randle. On paper, he's the most likely candidate to be our #2. We're talking about a guy who's been an all-star 2 of the last 3 seasons, who can score from all 3 levels, and who has the ability to create for others. If everything goes according to plan, Randle should be our second leading scorer and might even lead the team in assists. But here's where it gets interesting. When it comes to late-game situations, it's not going to be about a set hierarchy. It's going to be about matchups and how the defense is playing us. This is where the concept of a Robin by committee really comes into play. Picture this. It's crunch time in a tight game against the Celtics. The defense is all over Brunson, sending double teams his way on every pick and roll. That's when Randle could step up, playing that Isaiah Hartenstein role we saw last season. Imagine Randle catching those dump-offs from Brunson and charging downhill with shooters all around him. That's a nightmare for any defense, even one as good as Boston's. But wait, there's more. What if we go small and put Randle at center? Now we've cleared out the paint and surrounded him with elite shooters like Donte DiVincenzo and Mikal Bridges. Good luck stopping that, opposing defenses. This kind of lineup versatility is what can separate good teams from great ones in the modern NBA. Now, let's not forget about Mikal Bridges. When we acquired him this summer, we didn't just get a 3-and-D wing. We got a player who's shown flashes of being able to create his own shot and facilitate for others. If Brunson's having an off night, or if the defense is keyed in on stopping him, Bridges could be the guy to initiate the offense. Think about it this way. Bridges has the length to shoot over smaller defenders, the quickness to blow by bigger ones, and the basketball IQ to make the right play. In Phoenix, he was often the 4th option behind Booker, Paul, and Ayton. Here in New York, he has the opportunity to showcase more of his offensive repertoire. And don't sleep on Donte DiVincenzo. Those pick-and-pop situations with Brunson could lead to some clutch 3-pointers from our sharpshooter. Remember, this is a guy who attempted and made more 3-pointers than anyone in the league after the All-Star break last season. That's not just good shooting, that's elite marksmanship. The key here is flexibility. Some nights it might be Randle's turn to shine. Other nights it could be Bridges stepping up as a secondary creator. And in certain situations, DiVincenzo's shooting could be the perfect complement to Brunson's penetration. It's all about riding the hot hand and exploiting mismatches. Think about it this way. If Randle's got 35 points heading into the 4th quarter, you bet he's getting the ball late. The defense has already shown they can't stop him, so why go away from what's working? But if he's 4 for 17, maybe it's time to look elsewhere. This is where having multiple options becomes a strength rather than a weakness. How would it work? Let's dive a little deeper into how this might work in practice. Imagine we're playing against a team with a traditional big man who struggles to defend in space. In this scenario, we might run a lot of Brunson-Randle pick and rolls, forcing that big to make difficult decisions. Do they switch, leaving Randle with a mismatch in the post? Do they drop back, giving Brunson room to operate? Or do they trap, leaving our shooters open on the perimeter? Now, let's say we're up against a team with versatile wing defenders who can switch everything. This might be a game where we lean more on Bridges as a secondary creator. His ability to attack closeouts and make plays in the mid-range could be crucial against this type of defense. And what about those games where the opposing team has one lockdown perimeter defender? They might put that defender on Brunson, thinking they've solved the problem. But that's where our Robin by committee approach shines. We can simply shift the offensive focus to whoever has the most favorable matchup. This kind of flexibility isn't just about having multiple scoring options. It's about being able to adapt to whatever the defense throws at us. It's about making the opposing coach's job a nightmare because they can't just game plan to stop one or two players. But let's address the elephant in the room. Won't this approach potentially lead to confusion or chemistry issues? It's a fair question, but I don't think it will be a problem for this Knicks team. Here's why. 1. Veteran leadership. Brunson and Randle have both been in the league long enough to understand the importance of adapting to game situations. They're not going to let ego get in the way of winning. 2. Coach Thibodeau's system. Tibbs has always been about playing the right way and making the smart basketball play. This approach fits perfectly with his philosophy. 3. Team-first mentality. From everything we've seen and heard, this group of players is all about winning. They understand that different nights might call for different heroes. How would this evolve during the season? Now let's talk about how this approach might evolve over the course of the season. Early on, we might see more of a traditional hierarchy, with Randle clearly established as the second option. This makes sense as the team is finding its rhythm and players are settling into their roles. But as the season progresses and we get into the thick of the playoff race, don't be surprised if we see more fluidity in the offense. This is when that Robin by committee approach could really shine. By the time we hit the playoffs, opposing teams won't know who to key in on after Brunson. Speaking of the playoffs, this is where having multiple secondary options could be a game changer. Remember how the Miami Heat made their surprising run to the finals 2 years ago? It wasn't just about Jimmy Butler. They had different guys step up in different games. That's the kind of unpredictability that can win you a series. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The regular season is a grind, and this approach will be tested night in and night out. There will be games where it works beautifully, and others where it might look clunky. The key will be patience and trust in the process. So, what does all this mean for fantasy basketball players or fans trying to predict stats? Well, it might make things a bit trickier. Randle's usage rate might dip a bit, but his efficiency could improve. Bridges might see an uptick in his scoring and assist numbers. DiVincenzo could have some explosive scoring nights when he gets hot. But remember, when it all comes down to it, crunch time belongs to Jalen Brunson. He's our closer, our go-to guy when the game is on the line. This Robin by committee approach isn't about taking the ball out of Brunson's hands in crucial moments. It's about making sure that when defenses sell out to stop him, we have multiple ways to make them pay. Now, I want to hear from you. Knicks Nation, what do you think about this Robin by committee approach? Do you like the flexibility, or would you prefer a clear-cut number 2 option? Who do you think will end up taking the most shots after Brunson by the end of the season? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're down there, if you're enjoying this kind of in-depth Knicks analysis, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We'll be bringing you content like this all season long. Before we wrap up, let's do a quick recap. 1. Jalen Brunson is our undisputed first option. 2. Julius Randle, Mikal Bridges, and Donte DiVincenzo will likely share second option duties based on matchups and game situations. 3. This flexible approach could make the Knicks' offense more unpredictable and harder to defend. 4. The success of this strategy will depend on players buying in and Coach Thibodeau managing it effectively. 5. As the season progresses, we might see this approach evolve and become more fluid. Remember, Knicks fans, basketball is a team sport. While it's fun to debate who's the first, second, or third option, what really matters is how all these pieces fit together to create a winning team. And from where I'm sitting, this Robin by committee approach gives us the best chance to maximize our talent and make some serious noise in the Eastern Conference. Remember, whether it's Brunson, Randall, Bridges, or someone else stepping up on any given night, we're all in this together. Here's to what promises to be an exciting and unpredictable Knicks season. Go Knicks!